if you want to do this, wait a minute. Are you sure we had the recording?
We have not been recording.
Sorry
The
for that.
recording dropped. I've just realized.
Okay. Sorry for that. But if we have lost, the heads are here. Okay. So this, if I want to do multiple, I'll click this, press a control down, click on the second one. Let me take these first two. Now, if I've selected both of them, I may not come to this option because the moment I click here, it remains with only one. So when I select more than one, this time I will not change them from here. I will move upwards and look for data type. Actually, here we are in home. They give you a snippet of the shortcuts you can always use many times rather than going to transform. But when you go to transform, you'll always find there everything that is here in home. And you'll always find there everything that is in add. So here you see the whole of this is transforming, which you'll find this side. So you can always use this tab or you can use this tab, but if anything is not here on home, you'll either find it in transform or you'll find it in add columns. So here in transform, it is here. So I come on data type and set this to text. You see it automatically changes that to text. It is a good practice if you have started changing changing data type, go ahead and change the data types before you do anything. Because you'll understand that you'll be having many change data types in your data, which is a step, and I said we are looking at reducing the steps. So if you have started removing columns, remove them at once. If you have started removing change data, you're changing types, change them up to the end, then you go on something else. Don't jump on this and jump on the other one. That's why we delay. Don't multitask. Actually, multitasking is always, it creates more delay than doing one thing and finish it. So this, when I look at this, this was time, entry time, and when I check very well, it is time. So some of them will pick automatically, and that's this change type we saw here, which was picked automatically by the system. So the system runs into your data and it has the intelligence to know this is time, this is a number, this is a text, this is a date. And what was not with the other side Excel. I will keep comparing for you to get the value of why you have to use Power Query. So this is a number, I will leave it. And it is a decimal actually, because they are decimals. So it is a decimal, a number is 1, 2, 3. A decimal is 1.2. So looking through all those are in their best formats. Text. Now this SHIP2 code is not a number, it is a text. Those are the things I was telling you. Make sure that you make things that you're not going to add as text, such that you can easily use them in your data. This is a text. Why am I changing a material code to a text? Because there is no any other time I will ever add it. So this is a number true, and it is a decimal. There are some of the columns we shall remove. Yeah, you see now here, the date was automatically detected by the system or by Excel, and it automatically tells you this is a date. And it has aligned it on the right, which we have always loved to get, but we don't get it automatic when you use the other side. So the username, then the remarks. So that is it, guys, when we are changing data types. That is the second step you should always take after you have done all the removing columns and rows. Then when you're done with this, just scroll downwards, you check whether your data still has anything, maybe intrusion. It's not. Now, let me tell you something to recap with. Do you know that we had summaries at the end? Yes, we had the summaries. Why we used this column here to filter out this one? No, not that. There is a filter where we filtered out TN. Which was it? I think it was this. Let me check what we did. Yes, we filtered anything that was equal to TN. So when we did this filter, when you come to before where we had none, So when we did the filter, which means anything that was not a transaction did not have a turn. That's why I picked that unit of measure column, because it was most suiting what I was filtering out. Anything that never had a unit of measure, then it was not a transaction, which means that's where even the summaries got disappeared from. You can never find them there. So you find that you have hit many birds with one stone. Now, the next thing here, not to delay you, since it is the introduction of this, we are going to load this. Then we shall come back and see how we can edit it, adding other columns. If there is any question, you can ask, but I'm continuing to load this. Where do you load this from? Home. Then we are going to go to close and load. Now, on close and load, we have two options. It is always not good to rush for the first option, because the first option directly takes this data into a table. The second option has also the first option in it. So if we are not sure, or if we are looking for another option, not only table, we can always go for close and load 2. It will bring a pop-up. We are waiting for a pop-up. This pop-up is going to give us 4 options. Do you want to load this as a table? Do you want to load it as a pivot table? Do you want to load it as a pivot chart? Do you want to load it as a connection? Now, this is the best of it all. People who have dealt with too much data, you'll always load this as a connection. You'll have your data loaded on a sheet, but the sheet is blank. But all the files for that month are on that sheet. You can use them at any point you need. That's where we find it as a connection. So we are going to peruse through all of them and we see how we load. So starting loading this as a table, I will load it as a table. You can always tick now this. Add this data to the data model. Why we are adding this data to the data model? Because of the many functions we shall need to use, like Power Pivot. I told you yesterday, Power Pivot, we use it to create relationships in our data. If you have more than 5 tables, different. But for now, you can tick it. Maybe in future, you'll know the purpose of it. And anyone who is here, who is going to proceed with Power BI, make sure that you pay much attention with Power Query, because in Power BI, it is 50% of what we have done here. Though Power Query is also there, but it is better learning it from Excel because it has a lot of basics than in Power BI. So I'll go ahead, and here they are saying they create a new sheet. Yes, I can leave them to create a new sheet, and I want to load this as a table. I'll go ahead and say okay, and I'll leave my data to load. You look at the rows that are going to load here. So we have loaded 3,567 rows. Just in a blink of an eye. Imagine if we are not explaining, this one would have taken less than 3 minutes. So when you scroll down, you'll find everything. Someone may want to test that have all the plants come. When you come here, you'll see all the 5 plants have come. So all the data for all the 5 plants is here in just a minute, which means now I can reconcile all the 5 plants in only one report. And how? Because I just combined them. And what does it mean? That the next time, if today was 14th, this data is from 1st to 14th. Tomorrow, I will download 1st to 15th, remove the previous file, replace it with a new file, just come here and refresh, and you'll see these rows increasing because there is an additional day. You reach the end of the month, the same thing. And what does it mean? That even the dashboard you'll have created here, even the dashboard you'll have created here, like how we did last time, it is just a matter of coming here on data and refresh. This dashboard will pick the numbers of the updated data. We looked at that yesterday. So these are the report, guys. Now, let's note out what we exactly want. If we are doing analysis of dispatch, we may not need the Jig and Eagle, something to do with Jig and Eagle. sorry, we may not need the entry times, the exit times, even entry quantities, exit quantity, but it depends on the problem you have. We said that last time. You may have a problem on your sheet from your boss that please get for us an analysis of all the trucks that were in all the plants. We want to look at the distribution of their tire weights. We did that last time. I may not repeat it now. So which means you need this entry weight as the major field for that problem. So you leave it there. You need this. So you never delete it. Like even I told you that these files are supporting files, don't delete them. But you can always go there and rename them because you may upload many files here of which you want to distinguish them. So you can always right click here and say rename this. This is a group of it. Then I say this one is relating to the report query. So even if I minimize it, I will always know this is relating to this. So even if I have other 6 I have loaded, I can rename them and I know that if I got an error here, then I have to go in that group. Maybe there is a transform file or a sample file that has lost connection to where I'm picking it from. Then you can always come to this sample file and know when was it last refreshed. So when I look at this, it was refreshed 4 minutes ago because it is now 2041, this is 2037. So if you open your file and you find this one last refreshed yesterday, then we know that there's a problem with this file. We can go ahead and check whether there is anything to do with it. Any question, guys? Today, I know our call may be short, but let's make it so much interactive. No one should remain behind. Okay, now, let's go and remove the unnecessary columns we may not need. How do you do that? I know someone may say, but we already loaded this as a table. I can come here, select these two. I know where the delete is. I delete. Yes, it will delete and go. Then you come and say, I don't need what? You come and say, I don't need from entry weight to exit weight and all the quantities. You delete. But when you are dealing with Power Pivot, Power Query, what you're doing is you're just rating on water. Because for me, when I come here on data and refresh, what you have deleted will come back because I have to remove them from the Power Query editor itself, not here. So when you remove them from here, you're just doing a temporary view. But when you refresh, they come back. So you can always go back to this. Then there is an edit here. When you hover, it will pop up that, then you come to this edit. That's option number 1. Option number 2, you can always right click here and say edit query, which is this. Or you can even refresh always from here. If you have added a file like now, I can refresh here, this number of rows will change. If you want to duplicate it, maybe start from there, creating another query, you can do that. There are a lot of things we shall do here, but just keep attentive and joining these sessions. Then, if you want to edit, I've told you you edit from here. Deleting this one deletes the query. Deleting the query means that you delete all what we have done since we started this call. And you may not undo that. So, the other option, the third one, for us, the lazy ones, is double-clicking this. So when you double-click this, it automatically opens a Power Query editor. Obviously, I wanted to end with the ones for us, the lazy ones. But it is always the best option to go with, double-click. So now here we can come and remove these files, which we don't want. Remove like circuit. So you can go ahead and edit and remove columns again. Don't go to the other remove column we used because it is going to give you errors because there are some data types we have changed. These steps will look for this circuit because we did them when that circuit was there. It will not see it and it will give you an error. If I went back to edit from here. So the good option is removing them independent. Either you click on them and delete, or you click on them and, no, even you don't click on them, you come here, you go to choose columns, and you take them off. So I will come, I don't want a circuit, I don't want a unit because it is the same. I don't want a ship to code. I don't want exit quantity, entry time. Let me leave time because I may want to use the time. Even let me leave the quantities. We go ahead and say okay. And when we say okay, those columns have gone by the way. So when we load and close, now this time we can just do close and load because it is not giving me even this option, because I've already loaded a table which is already existing. So I'll close and load. It will automatically refresh. And when it is done refreshing here, retrieving the data, it will show me the number of rows. And when I scroll to look for circuit, it's not there. So even if I refresh, it can't come back because I deleted it from the Power Query editor itself. Hope we are okay with this step. Okay. If we are okay with this step, I have a comment here, blank rows. I think we did that a long time ago. So now, the next option, let's look at the Power Query editor and we try to play with it for the next 15 minutes. Because we have closed and loaded. You people, you know how to create pivots. I'm not going to show you how you're going to create pivots. You know how to create pivots. We did that as a topic on its own for a full week and a half. Maybe if there is a question that is coming up from there. But I will always stop here for the purpose of the topic we are on. Now, let's see how we can play with some features in the Power Query editor. Just pay attention. Let's double click here. Then, okay. The first thing, let's go to transform. I want to show you one by one, step by step, how we deal with them. Transpose, we may not need it here because transpose means that when I'm selecting this cell and I say transpose, it is going to change these numbers as columns and everything will just change. This one is going to be the heading of all this data. Yes, I know you have always found the data of that scenario. You find that what you have here, they are supposed to be the headings of the whole of this row. There you do transpose. Reverse rows means that you take the rows on top to the bottom, which is not our bit now. Then here, count rows. The moment you click on this, it will always remove the data and give you the number because you want to count rows. But I will cancel this step and go back to my data. So, which means if you say count rows and you close and load, it is going to take only that number. Let's close and load and test it out. You see, this is what we have from all the data we have. Because we have said count rows, it has counted the rows and it has brought for you the only one row. So how do we go back? Just double click, get your Power Query editor, remove that step because it's not what I wanted. I was testing. Now, I'm done with this. The others, we shall do them at some bit later stage. I'm looking at things now we can grasp easily. We have changed data types, we have looked at them. Renaming, you can use this, or you can go ahead and double click always the header to rename it. So I can double click there and call this one the Hodim number, like that. So it will be renamed. This is logo number, this is SAP number, that way. Then what else should we look at? Replace values. So when you have a lot of values which you want to replace. Let's say you want to replace all the Shaka Company Limited because this company changed the name to Sabiti Online. So you'll come here and say, search for this. Obviously, before you do that, you come, when you click in it and you go to replace values, it will pick automatically. You don't have to copy it. Let me repeat for you. When you click on it like this and replace values, it will pick automatically. So the moment I say replace with Subtech Online, and I say okay, everywhere there is Shaka Online will be updated with Subtech Online, just in a blink of an eye. But feel free to always cancel that step that has been created, because that was not the target we're testing. So fill downwards. Fill downwards, what does it mean? There is fill down, there is fill up. Now this is what it means, guys. With Power Query, if I want, yeah, they are the same things. If I want all these 4 rows, these ones, press a control. Actually, I have to select one. So when you say fill down, the moment I click, it will move downwards and select the whole column fill down. So if I'm starting from here and I say fill down, it fills down, fill up, it fills up. So it is just a matter of selecting a column, which may not be of value to you. So we'll go ahead and remove that. Let me rush into the vital things. Someone may ask himself, how do I get the difference between time? Yes, for now, I will say you select the 2. You select the 2. We saw that yesterday. You come on add column. This time, because you have selected time, that's why this one is called a BI tool, a business intelligence tool. It will disable all the other things and bring you the time here. And it will bring you the time and ask you, do you want to subtract? Do you want the earliest time in those 2 columns you have selected? Or do you want the latest time? If it was a number, it will ask you, do you want maximum or minimum? It will always give you one number, like how it gave us one number to count rows. So here we need to subtract. And what you subtract from is what you select. So if I select exit and select this, and I go to subtract, they are subtracting exit minus entry. So when I say subtract, they are going to add the column at the end with a difference just in a minute. So it is up to you to go here and say, this is get in, get out, jiggle. Why are these ones having zeros? Because they are manual. Then these ones, you'll see this one 1 hour, this one 2 hours. Now someone is asking himself, what if they came out different dates? Do you know what it means? You have to combine this date and time. You have to combine a date and time exit. How do you combine? By selecting that. I'm going to close. I will delete these steps. Don't worry. We are just having a line with them. So if I want to combine this with the other, with the date, I'll select the entry time, and then come and look for the date, which is here. Then there is always, you see now, because I've selected the date and time. So when you come on date, it will show you that, do you want to combine the date and time? It means that Excel is going to take care of the final product, the final output. It will not give it to you as a number, but it will give you as a date and time. So the moment I say combine date and time, whichever that I selected first for it, it will tell me that date comes first, then time next. So I'll call this one entry D and T. You get? Now, that is, I've created an entry date and time. In case you wanted it, we have always wanted these things and we feel like, how shall we get them? So if you want the exit one, because we have only one date, but if you have the 2 dates, go ahead and use them. Then I will also select this. They will combine. You do the same, you'll get the exit date and time. So you can go ahead and delete all these columns, but when you come, you'll see that we started from here subtracting time. So if you want to delete all of them, you come here, right click, delete until the end. Let's leave them there. Now, what else do I need to show you? Yesterday, we looked at if you want multiple things from a date, like you want a year, it will be given to you, but we already know we have 1 year. We ran data for 1 month. So there are some things you don't need. Don't bring them because you're happy. Already you are dealing with data for 1 month. Month for what? Why do you have a burden of a column which is going to be the same from bottom to top? So quarter, you don't need a quarter. That month is having 1 quarter, which is the same. What you may need is a week. What you may need is a day. You may take a day in number, we add it, and here they're asking me whether they want, because I'm selecting here and I'm doing a step, that's why they're asking this. So I may say insert, a new step, it is here inserted. So, but I wanted this new step at the bottom, I can move it down. So you can always do that changes, but there are some changes you do, it brings you errors. Just take note. So you'll see it has brought for me here the day. Then you can go there and also bring the day name. Where is my date? Where is my date? Now, if you have a lot of columns, you don't have to scroll every time like this. You'll end up even getting tired. Come here to transform. No, not home. Come to columns, say go to. It will bring all the rows. You will say go to date. Just click on date here. It will go to date. Because I don't want to keep searching where is date, where is this, where is this. You have that functionality there. Go to date, then I want to do something on date. I want to add a day name. So you'll come here, you scroll down up to name of the day. And it will give me the name of the day at the end, which is this. Now, there is a lot of data you can main. We call that data mining, but it is part of transformation. So when you're done, you can load your data. I've not shown you how we extract. Extract is here. Maybe that one may come another day. In case the other logo number where you have a 10 here, you can always come here and say extract anything between, anything after, anything in range. We shall do that, but you can try it yourself and give us the results on WhatsApp. You can come here, change the format. Have you ever wondered you have like lower cases and you want to make them capital? You can always do that in a blink of an eye. Select that column, come here, say I want it capitalized, each word, it will capitalize. I want to trim, I want to clean, I want to add a prefix. Like if every material I want to add there a prefix in front, that this was testing material, testing multipurpose, testing power plus, you can add that prefix. You can add a suffix. The suffix is added at the end, the prefix is added in front. You can capitalize. If I say capitalize, everything is going to be capital. You see? I've capitalized. Let me say, if I want to add a prefix, let me go on what can I add a prefix on? If I want to add a prefix, let's on SAP number. I can come here and say I want to add a prefix. Then on prefix, I say this is SAP underscore. And I do okay. Every number, actually it will create another column because it will make sure that it leaves the other column intact. Then it will create another column and add for you SAP number. All the 3,579 rows have been affected with this change. Very easy. So I will delete this. It is not part of our... So here we can go ahead, we close and load. So when I close and load, it has to load all the rows. Okay. Now here we can go ahead. Let's create something, one happy thing before we leave the call. So I can go ahead and create a pivot quickly. You come here, you go on insert and you say create a pivot. Remember we said last time we create them in a working sheet. I can create a new sheet, but make sure that you click on the data model. Tomorrow is not a class day, maybe next week. Then okay, it will create a pivot here. We say okay. Now when you click the other button of add to data model, you will see that you see how your table looks like. which means you can have like 10 tables here. Every table is collapsed alone. And when you come to Power Pivot, when you come to Power Pivot here, let me give you a glimpse of it. When you go to Manage and Power Pivot opens, you'll always find that table of yours there because we added it to the data model. But that is something for the next time. Now, let's see what we can create here. Always you can search. If you feel you have many rows you can't scroll through, you can search, I need the day, it will come. I will drop the day here, 1 up to 31. Then I need quantity. You don't have to hustle, it will pick, and those are the sums, and here we go. Then if I need plant, I'll say plant like this. I will bring plant and put it here. So you'll see that every plant has from 1 to 31st, from 1 to 31st. So you can do it like that, or you can see the better way how you can do it. But let's go with this. So when you go to Power Pivot or Design, we did this last time, put this in tabular form, it will go like this. So let's create a chart from this. So I click on this. You can go on Insert Chart, or you can go here on Pivot Analyze. It will always give you an option of inserting a chart. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is inserting chart? It is on Design. No, it is on, it has to be here. I think I'm getting that, but it is somewhere here. Insert chart, insert chart. Okay, can't trace it, but it's fine. Let's go on Insert Chart directly, and we say we can select the whole of this up to the bottom, Control Shift down, Control Shift down, 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 down. We don't want a gross total. Now here we can go and say, what are the recommended charts? We see a line chart here, so we can go with that. But now this line chart is not giving us something smart because we added plant. But okay, here we can remove the buttons. Remove the buttons here. Okay, remove the buttons. Now, because we added here something else which was not suitable for this, we can always remove the plant. Then you receive your chart like this. So our chart is a column chart. Last time we said that when you have time, you don't have to use column chart. What do you have to use? You have to go and use a line chart. So you can always come to Design and you change this chart type here. So when I change chart type, you go to line and you pick a line, which is this. Then you do okay, it will be a line. There are a lot of things you can do on this line, a lot, to make sure that it is smart for use. So you can go ahead and double click on this. Sorry, just click on the line like this, right click, format data series. It will always open here. You can go ahead and do a lot of things on that line. You can smoothen it. You can even come here to add elements. You can add a lot of things, add data labels, a lot of things. You know better how you can do it. You can add a trend line, which is linear like this. So when you bring a slicer for plants this time, it becomes easy for you when we create this as a slicer now, like this, which is a slicer now, this one, which means if I click on Kasese, it will change to Kasese. If I click on Namamve, it changes to Namamve. If I click on this, it changes to that. There are a lot of things you can do, but this is a beta way, which we did last time. Just I was making sure we end the call with something productive. But guys, that's how we deal with Power Query. Today, what we have looked at, actually, let's do something here. So in case you went to this table and removed one of the deliveries, it will automatically refresh and drop that. We did that yesterday. I may not want to repeat it. So anything you do to the source file, it automatically updates this side. And how does it update? You either refresh or you make it to refresh automatically every time you open it. Those options are there. Any question? I know we have run up to 9, which is our cutoff time. Even though we joined late, I don't want to push this to compensate because we always have a budget for this day that at 9 you will be leaving the call to do something else. If there are questions we need to record on this call, the recording may stay on as we ask those questions in like 2 minutes. Then we shall ask Susan to drop the call and we call it a day. But guys, I'm not getting practice you're doing on your end. I'm seeing very few people that are active. I know we may be busy, but take some time. Spending 2 hours on this call, and at the end of the month, you can't remember anything, still you will have wasted these 2 hours. Waste 30 minutes in a day and recap. Or over the weekend on Saturday, just have the 1 hour before you go into your weekend hustles. Just recap because this is a continuous thing. You may not get this another session like this where you have a one-on-one ask and feedback, but it is always a chance that if the chance is there, you use it. So I will need you to practice. Ask me as many questions as you can on the chat. I wait even for questions they don't come through. But that is it. Guys, you can go ahead and ask any question in case you have it. In case
Chris, I wanted to ask something. How about for people who don't have this kind of data? Because when you look at this data is so much details, it has almost so many things that you can capture, that you can remove, that you can leave. How about if some people have no data, how will they practice? Or you can share the same data for practice?
Actually, for the other members, they will have to use the data. But for you and Abat, it is unfortunate that I can't share this data. Though we're on this call, this data is a confidential data for the company, which I can't share out. I still stand with that non-confidential agreements I signed. So we shall look into a way how we can generate data that is somehow related to this, and I will give you for practice. But in any case, I think the video can always work for you to pick out. It is all about you picking out the principles. It's not the data. You'll always meet different data. Not every data that will always look like this. But I will get for you sample data to use. But for the other teams, you have access to this data. You can go to the systems and get the data and play with it. Actually, I was talking to Joseph, who was saying that you guys, you have zillions and zillions of data rows, both the 3 systems we are using. And that data is available for you to use. No one is restricting you. So you have a lot. Just go to that data, ask me any questions. Okay, I think I will drop
Sabiti.
Yep.
Sabiti.
I have seen bringing this slicer, and we did not update it here. It came out automatic.
Like updating it where?
Okay, we did not create it. Where you?
No, I created it. I think you had maybe a delay of your network. No, when I came to this pivot, where is my pivot? When I came to this pivot, you see this plant, I had searched for plant. I right-clicked on plant like this, and I said add a slicer for a plant. So
okay.
it automatically appeared here. So it didn't automatically appear, but I got it from the table itself.
Okay.
Someone else was asking a question.
Yes, Sabiti. It's Albert here. Yesterday I asked a question in regard to combined data, which is actually different from each other. Looking at the example and the data we used today, it's the same data. So how do we go about when you're combining different data from different categories? For example, you're combining sales, you're combining inventories, you're combining logistic data, but you want to present it in a single report.
I think it is unfortunate that today we have not have an ample time to go to that. And I didn't want us to automatically come from the Power Query editor, go to the Power Pivot, because that is going to be part of the Power Pivot lessons, where we shall be bringing more data, like we shall be uploading like 5 tables, different, completely different, because what we uploaded now is only 1. Then we shall be maybe uploading other 5 different tables. Then we look at a way how we combine them using this data model. So the data model will help us. That's why I keep telling you, put the other tick when we have reached the Power Query. Then you look at how we create those relationships. And that is something we are going to have the next week. But in case you have already, you can, I will share with you videos where this is. You can always, because what we have done is, it is a continuation from what he's asking, though I don't want to go there immediately before we digest this. But about that one will be coming. Sorry, we have delayed your questions now for the second day, but it's the importance of the purpose we are following this lineage to make sure that we don't skip on those things. Okay. Guys, I think you'll allow me drop my share. If you still have any question, you still have, you can ask a question in 1 minute or 2. Then in case it is not, we'll ask Susan. Let me hope Susan recorded 2 recording videos, because I saw the recording started in the middle. So you can go ahead and stop the recording, then